4 points picked up in their last 2 matches and 2 home matches here in the next 5 days. This week could be pretty crucial. Good evening and greetings from Home Park. I'm Erin Black and this is the pre-match show on Argyle TV. The draw at Hull on Saturday backed up the thrashing of Norwich a week earlier, and with games tonight and on the weekend to come here at Home Park, it could be quite a profitable week for Argyle. But they do have to get the job in hand done before we get too carried away. Tonight's game is against Millwall. You can follow the game wherever you are in the world tonight. All the streaming details can be found on our website, pafc.co.uk. Match passes cost just £10. You've got about an hour to make sure you get it all sorted and grab hold of one. Right, tonight is the first time since 2006 that Argyle have faced Millwall in a league game, and the past 4 out of 5 meetings in the league between these two sides have ended in a draw. But after 17 years, we have the fixture again, and we are, of course, Aaron, hoping for a win. Coming up between now and kick-off, we're going to be hearing from Stephen Schumacher. We'll be looking back at Saturday's draw, and we'll be finding out from Brendan Galloway who his sporting hero is. Helping me do all of that and go through the team news is none other than former Argyle Academy coach Aaron Cusack. Aaron, lovely to have you with us this evening. How are you?
I'm very well, thank you. It's nice to be back of an evening game
under
the lights at Home Park.
It brings a different atmosphere, doesn't it? It's always quite a nice one.
It does, and it's a nice still in the air as well, so the pitch is looking zippy, and you know, it's a classic night for football.
Yeah, and we're being treated, of course, this week because we've got a Tuesday night match tonight, straight on to Saturday as well here at Home Park as well, which is, you know, it's really great for fans, isn't it?
Yeah, naturally you want to build a fortress at your home venue, and you know, over the last 12 months in particular, this has become a fortress, and they're going to want to maintain that momentum going into tonight and onto Saturday. And you know, winning breeds confidence and it brings momentum, and that's what we want, and these fans will want to see a show again this evening.
Yeah, I mean, we were treated to a pretty special game last time we were here at Home Park against Norwich, and I know both the players and the fans and us, of course, would love to see something similar like that again.
Absolutely, you know, and I'm sure the guys won't go out there tonight and underestimate what Millwall will bring. It's such an enigmatic league, it's such an unpredictable league, and anything can happen. And you know, they would have done their homework. It would have been a tight turnaround from the weekend. You know, credible to draw up at Hull. And that's what they're here to do. They're here to win football matches, but more importantly, they're here to put on a good show to go with it.
Yeah, and we've seen Argyle lose in recent weeks, but we're coming into tonight off the back of a win and a draw, so everybody kind of feeling bolstered in their spirits.
Now they're unbeaten in 2, and that's what happens in a roller coaster season. You can go 3 or 4 games and lose consecutively, and you can win 3 or 4 games in a row. So there's an ebb and flow of winning and losing, and it's about how you respond to a setback. And I think since the defeat of Bristol City, you can't fault the way in which the players and the management have responded. It's been positive, and they've shown a bit of reassurance again.
Yeah, and Argyle, the squad itself, remains a competitive environment, as we'll see in a minute. A couple of changes for Argyle tonight, for Millwall as well, but we're going to be focusing on Argyle in particular. Just goes to show the choice that Stephen Schumacher has to make, and just how ready all these players are to show what they can do.
Absolutely, it's a modern game. It's a squad game now. You can't just pick the same 11 week in, week out, because of the intensity that they play at, the volume of games that they have. You need ready-made players to come in and do their role, and that's what we've got. We've got a strong squad. And he's made a couple of changes, no doubt, ready to take on Millwall this evening. Yeah,
it's 2 changes in total, and we'll have a look at them now, because we've got a lot to get through this evening, but we will bring you the team news first and foremost, and there it is on the screen for you. Starting for Argyle tonight: Hazard, Plegathwello, Scar, Kessler, Hayden, Mumba, Houghton, Miller, Azaz, Randall, Hardy, Whittaker, and on the bench for us: Burton, Gillespie, Butcher, Edwards, Warrington, Cundall, Bundu, Tyreek Wright, and Ben Wayne. It's similar in the whole, not as drastic as we saw a couple of weeks ago when we had about 7 sweeping changes across the board. I think this is a side that the fans will be looking forward to seeing playing tonight, Aaron.
Yeah, and it looks like they're appropriate changes. Joe Edwards put an incredible shift in at the weekend, and he's one of the older statesmen in the squad, so maybe his numbers, his data suggests he needs a rest this evening. Macaulay Gillespie had his first minutes in the Championship at the weekend. We have to remember that was his first time playing at this level. So the selection that's come in, I wonder whether they're going to revert to a back 4, which they might do. That might cause an air of some might be a little bit cautious about what happened last time we played a back 4, but they've got to, as a fan set, we've got to be aware of the fact that we're going to change formation, and we've got to do what's best for the occasion. And these players are, they can adapt to a back 4 or a back 3 when needed.
Yeah, and of course Hardy and Whittaker starting there. Always good to see their names, because we know what they can bring to.
Yeah, they're full of goals, but they're not only just full of goal scoring; they're full of goal creation as well. So whether it's Hardy scoring and Whittaker setting them up, and vice versa, but there's an array of people in that starting 11 that can score at any moment and also create. And that's what I've always liked in recent 12 months with this squad. It's the variety on offer that can create goal-scoring opportunities.
Yeah, and we've seen Adam Randall scoring goals as well. Of course, he's starting for us tonight. We've got impressive attacking threats. Defensively on Saturday, they showed they were up for it too. We've got to give a mention to Connor Hazard, because he really delivered, didn't he, on that game?
And he was fantastic. One of the saves he made was world class. It was as good as you'd see anywhere that weekend. And people might argue that's what he's there to do. He's there to save shots, but essentially it's the manner and the calibre of the saves as well that allowed us to gain that vital point. And I think a result like that at the weekend, I think that was needed to go on the road, go away to a very difficult opponent, and get a point. And show that element of resilience, which has perhaps been lacking in the opening stages of the season, especially away from home.
Yeah, and being at home tonight, Connor Hazard, of course, he's going to want to keep that clean sheet for tonight's match as well.
Yeah, it's a good point. I think, as well as we've been doing lately, winning games, scoring 6, a good point at the weekend.
Yeah.
I know these guys are going to, especially the back line, are going to be chasing clean sheets. And if they can start to put, a collection of clean sheets together, I have every faith that we can score goals, and then that's when we can start to get on that run of victories back to back that we've become accustomed to, especially here.
Exactly, yeah. I think that's kind of the most satisfying outcome for everyone involved. Of course, we are going up against Millwall tonight. Fair opposition. Let's have a little look at their team then. So, for Millwall's starting 11, we have Bielkowski, McNamara, Cooper, Bryan, Harding, Fleming, Campbell, Leonard, Denore, Nisbet and Watmore, and on their bench Truman, Wallace, Norton Cuffey, Mitchell, Saville, Essie, Honeyman, Longman and Imaku. I think we said about 3 changes from Millwall, didn't we, Aaron? They're coming into this game from a loss. They're gonna want to change it up a little bit and deliver here tonight away.
Yeah, it looks, without seeing until they kick off, it looks like they've changed their flank players and they've made a replacement in the back line as well. And whilst they were what looks like to have a heavy defeat the weekend, it wasn't for the want of trying. They had 22 shots on goal, only 5 on target, whereas Swansea had 7 attempts at goal and 5 on target and scored 3.
Yeah.
So they would have been really despondent with the fact that they didn't convert. So they're going to want to come here tonight and showcase that they can create chances and convert.
Yes.
So we've got to be cautious to not look at the defeat as, this might be a relatively easy fixture.
Yeah, and of those names, number 15, Joe Bryan, and also number 18, Ryan Leonard, both former Argyle players as well.
Yeah, Ryan in particular was an academy player, came all the way through. He's a local boy, he's a Plymouth boy. Was an early pro at the club and went off and cut his teeth at Southend and has gone on and had a terrific career. And now he's been playing in the Championship for a long time. So, just goes to show the quality he has. He's going to want to put a good show on tonight, coming back to his former club. But we've got to see him as a Millwall player as much as we want him to do well in other occasions, perhaps not tonight.
Yeah, and not on that list, in fact, really. Tom Bradshaw, he was last season's top goal scorer, out with a hamstring injury, which is beneficial for us.
Well, yeah, they found goals hard to come by this year. They've only scored 7. And in one of the games they scored 3. So if you look at the last 4 games, they've scored 3 goals, but that was in one of them. The other 3 they've not scored. So they'll be aware of that. So they're going to want to make sure that they use tonight as the springboard to convert the chances that they're creating.
Where do you think the threats are going to come from?
Well, you have to look at their front 2. So Kevin Nisbet and Duncan Watmore. Kevin Nisbet is an international for Scotland. He's played at the highest level internationally. Duncan Watmore's played in the Premier League, a former under-21 Player of the Year in the Premier League for Sunderland and played at Middlesbrough. So, they're outstanding footballers. They're going to want to showcase what they're capable of doing. So we've got to be aware of what quality they bring in particular.
Yeah,
front line.
We absolutely don't want to be giving them the benefit of the doubt here
Absolutely
tonight,
not
at all. Aaron, we had mentioned coming in off a loss. They did have a bit of a hammering at home on Saturday, 3-0 to Swansea. They'll be looking for a reaction to that tonight.
Absolutely. They've become in the last couple of years a very accustomed Championship outfit. A very solid team. They've started to compete towards the playoffs. So they've been in this division for a long time. So they're a solid team, and certainly no team wants to have back-to-back defeats. So they're going to be up for it naturally, but they're also going to have a game plan that's going to set them up to win this football match. Yeah,
and you mentioned previously 7 goals for them there. That actually puts them as the second lowest scorers in the league. So do you think that's something that's maybe going to be weighing on their conscience a little bit?
Yeah, it will, and it brings pressure. If you've got people in your side who aren't scoring and converting, people start to look at where those goals are going to come from. So naturally, they're all, that's when that element of pressure can lead to snatching at chances, and they're trying to really kind of desperately try for the returns. Whilst they've only scored 7, they've conceded 11. We've scored 17 and conceded 14. So we've actually conceded more goals than they have. So, it does balance itself out.
Yeah, it's very much a swings and roundabouts situation. And I suppose maybe from their perspective, if the results coming in are quite erratic, does it kind of feel like they've not quite found their footing yet this season, perhaps?
I think so. But if you look at the records, our record and theirs, they're identical.
Yeah.
They're exactly the same. So we've got the same number of points. We're just ahead of them on goal difference. So, whilst we could argue that we've had a relatively positive start to the season, having come up from the previous division, are we erratic? I don't know.
Exactly.
So it's just. They're going to have to play this fixture tonight knowing that they've got Millwall as an opponent. They would have done their homework on where their strengths are, and then they've picked the team ready to win this football match.
Yeah, I suppose, really for both teams, it hasn't quite felt like a settled start to the season. Argyle have had its ups and downs as well.
Yeah, and we've shown real positive performances without the result that's been disappointing. I think, no one will say otherwise. The Bristol City defeat was a deserving defeat. But it's the only one so far. The others that we've lost have been almost unfair.
Yeah.
But football can be like that. So both teams are going to want to put a show on. We've got the advantage of being very dominant at home, having taken 9 points out of a possible 12 already this season. So it's just making sure we maintain that momentum.
Yeah, well, fingers crossed the momentum continues this evening, because Saturday was in fact the first time since the start of the season that Argyle have gone a couple of games unbeaten, and I think it's fair to say we would very much like it to continue that way. They backed up that big win that we saw against Norwich with a more than valuable point at Hull just 3 days ago.
Philogene once again up against Argyle defender Gillespie. Philogene into the Argyle box. Jinks one way and comes inside and tries to curl towards the far corner, but isn't particularly close to the goal. And I think Connor Hazard's happy. Edwards now inside the Hull half. Plays it infield to Azaz. Azaz with a bit of space and spreads it wide to Mumba. Coming towards the Hull penalty area. Mumba with chance to dribble. Goes on the outside and tries to play it across. Fumbles by also Adam Randall. And Adam Randall at the back post is in the right place at the right time.
Fantastic football and finding Bali Mumba. He gets the cross in. It's a great finish at the back post by Randall. But that's exactly what Argyle need to do. You have to stay concentrated without the ball. Then when they've got it, demonstrate the skills that they have, because that's what they can do. So that was devastating for me when they've won the ball back.
Edwards to Randall, and Edwards gets it back now. Manages to keep the ball in, and Argyle playing some nice triangles on his near side. Whittaker trying to beat his man. Plays a lovely through ball to Edwards inside the Hull half. Edwards tries to cut it back for Azaz, and was just intercepted by a Hull defender, but Azaz would have had a clear shot at goal. And Azaz was trying to press Seri, the Hull midfielder, in his own penalty area. And it almost goes in off Azaz inadvertently. And Ryan Alsop has to have his wits about him to keep that one out.
Here we go again. You know, they're taking chances, and Argyle there, if they just get a bit closer, they nick the ball.
They're playing a dangerous game, Hull.
And
Argyle win it back. Azaz tries to shoot off the post, off the inside of the post, and goes behind for a goal kick. Argyle once again pinching the ball off Hull as they try to play it out from the back. Hull are all over the place trying to play out from the back.
Yeah, they're causing their own problems now, because you can hear the fans getting frustrated.
About 90 seconds of normal time in this first half. Looking to see the first 45 minutes out and hopefully go in at half-time ahead, as Randall, facing his own goal, finds Scar, and Argyle just calmly passing the ball around. Gillespie looks for Mumba, but it's blocked actually by Hull man. Hull could keep this in. Philogene on the byline. He gets the better of Gillespie. Philogene out of nowhere. Philogene cuts inside, and he tries to find Spacer at the back post, and out of nowhere, Hull City have found an equaliser, and Argyle are completely the architects of their own downfall. Liam Delap drops deep to pick up the ball on the halfway line. He tries to turn away from Plegazuelo, and he's successful. Plays a through ball for Mawson. Mawson away from Butcher. Mawson tucks inside, and a shot tipped over the bar by Connor Hazard. Twine about 20 yards out, tries to work space, but he plays it out back to Morton, the corner taker. Morton crosses again low. It's a lovely cross, and it comes off Hull man, and somehow Connor Hazard has scooped that over the bar.
What a save.
That is one hell of a save from Connor Hazard. It was a messy finish. What a save from Connor Hazard.
Fantastic reflexes there from Connor Hazard.
Hull now on this far side. Twine cuts in field. Prods it to Connolly. Hull still putting the pressure on. It's a ball over the top towards Philogene. He tries to volley it, and Hazard just tips it over.
Just discussing whether my glasses were fitting for this evening show. Aaron, I think they're all right.
They look fine.
Yeah, you'd never know that I usually wore glasses. I'm a contact lenses gal, but not tonight. Feeling nerdy about football. Only you could hear the things they're saying in my ear right now. It's not appropriate for Argyle TV. Right, looking at that VT, Aaron, how important was it that Argyle showed a little bit of resilience on that game? Because as we saw, there were so many opportunities, not only that Argyle delivered, but we also, as mentioned previously, those saves from Connor Hazard. You know, it was a big game.
It was a massive game, and first and foremost, I thought it was a brilliant point away on the road against a real tough opponent. You know, we're going to be challenging and competing up there, and it just showed, you know, as I said previously, I think that was a kind of performance and result that we needed to showcase that they can go away from home and grind out a result, you know. And towards the back end of the game, you could see that there was a bit of a flurry of chances by Hull. Connor Hazard came into his own, but we created a number of good chances. You know, Finn Azaz hitting the inside of the post just after the goal, you know, going 2-0, and it changes the game again. So lots of confidence that we can go away from home and create chances, but also come away with a deserving point as well.
Yeah, I mean, and away points have been quite hard to come by so far this season. So I suppose having those opportunities, while they may have not come off for a win, probably really important for the morale of the team.
Yeah, and I think so. And I think if they can look at it as, if we can make Home Park a fortress and a very difficult place to come in, take points away, win the majority of our games if we can at home, and learn to draw, be difficult to beat on the road, you know, accept that you're going to lose on occasion, but then take the odd win, then all of a sudden you become a lot more resilient collectively, and that allows you to push up the league. All of a sudden you're a difficult team to beat on the road and at home as well.
Yeah, I mean, that's the kind of threat that Argyle want to be, you know, bringing this season. Last season, of course, we saw them win the league, and, you know, they were a formidable opponent, even though it seemed a lot of the time they were slipping under the radar in a way. It's not quite been the same so far this season, but that is the kind of MO that Argyle want to be delivering again, championship-wise.
Of course, and everyone will agree that first priority is to remain in this division, not be in the dogfight towards the end, remain in the division, but on the way, showcase what we're capable of doing, and we've already matched and more against what you would consider to be higher calibre of opponents so far this season. You know, hitting Norwich for 6 a couple of weeks ago, Premier League pedigree. We're here, you know, and we deserve to be in this division, but we've got to consolidate our place in this division. Yeah,
we can see everybody warming up on the pitch this evening. That's Millwall, our opponents tonight, and they are, you know, it's not going to be easy. It never is in this
it won't.
You know, championship.
I want to look at the, you know, it's interesting that the weekend visitors Swansea played Millwall at the weekend and beat them, and so you think, oh, okay, we'll gear up for Swansea. I know they won't be looking at that, but it's easy to look at the fact that they got beat at home at the weekend 3-0. Therefore, you know, they've only scored 3 goals in 4 games, upon which that was a win, I think, against Rotherham 3-0. So they're not really scoring loads. You know, the other week I said about Crystal Palace not scoring many here, and they stuck 4-pack. You know, so football's a funny game. They just have to play the moments here tonight, play the situations. You know, the game will ebb and flow, and we'll have dominant spells. They'll have a spell, and it's how we manage those out of possession spells in particular. Yeah, absolutely. Well, going back to the weekend's performance, Steven Schumacher was certainly heartened by the point we got away on the road, and he is, of course, hoping that his side can continue to be brave and to be confident going into this 2-game week.
That's how I want the team to look, and that's why we work so hard all the time with the players and encourage them to get on the ball and take it, because I feel that's going to be our best way to be successful. I don't feel as though us being direct or being a team who just counter-attack all the time is going to suit us, so that's going to lend itself to being comfortable, being brave and having a plan when you're in a certain area of the pitch of where the next pass is going. So that takes time, and I think as we go out through the season, then we'll get better and better at that, and hopefully be more clinical and take more of the opportunities that we're going to create.
Let's talk a little bit about the opposition on Tuesday night. Millwall are down. They've been a bit feast or famine just lately, Millwall. They've lost a couple of games 3-0. They've won 3-0. They got a very creditable 0-0 draw at West Brom. So it'll be difficult to know what's coming, but I imagine it's going to be tough one way or another. Yeah,
I think Millwall's last few results sort of sums up the Championship. I think it's so unpredictable. If you look at our performance against Bristol City and then we go and perform like that against Norwich, you think it's anyone on the day can beat anyone. What I will say about Millwall, though, is that they've become a firmly established Championship team over the years. They've got really good players who know what the level's all about. They've got a manager who's experienced in the Championship now and knows what it takes to get results. They've done so well last season, and this season, as you say, they've been a little bit hit and miss at the moment, but we know coming into tomorrow's game that we're going to have to be at it 100%, because to beat a strong established Championship team, then you need to do everything right.
What are you expecting out of them in terms of the style of play? What sort of game is it going to be?
Well, I think on the data it shows that they don't have loads of possession, or they haven't average loads of possession. They can be quite direct, but they're effective with it. They keep things alive. They compete in midfield, and they're a real threat from set plays, as you would expect, with the size that they've got at the back especially. So it's going to be one of them games that we're going to have to stand up to whatever they throw at us, and then be organised like we have been with our shape over the last few games, be nice and solid, and then when we get our opportunities to pass the ball in, to do that, because as I say, we know when we play well at home, our movement, the speed that we play at, it can cause teams problems. So that'll be the message to the lads, like, be ready for them, but don't be scared to be us either.
And just finally looking at our squad, Lewis Gibson missed the game on Saturday through injury. A, how's he doing, and B, how's everyone else come out of Saturday?
So everyone's fine from Saturday. There was no issues. There was a bit of tiredness and a few lads had a bit of cramp and whatever towards the end of what was a really intense game. So no issues apart from that. And Gibbo isn't going to be available for tomorrow. He's had a scan on his foot. Thankfully it's not too serious, or it doesn't seem too serious, and now we'll have to get our heads together with the medical team and decide whether we get him or try and get him available for the weekend against Swansea, or do we let it settle over the international period. So we'll have that conversation today, I'm sure, and over the next few days the picture will be a bit clearer on him, but for tomorrow he's definitely not available.
Let's just pick up on what Stephen Schumacher was talking about at the end of that video there, Aaron. We didn't really touch on it earlier. Of course, Lewis Gibson missing from the lineup this evening. How big a loss is he going to be?
Well, I think he's been outstanding, you know, at the start of the season in particular. What he brings is natural balance to the side because he's left-footed, and that helps when you know, Shuey was talking there about how they like to play and build that process. And when you've got a left-footer in your side, that adds the symmetry down through the pitch. You know, a left-back who's left-footed, a left centre-back who's left-footed, it aids with that balance. And you know, if you look at his stats, I think he's got the highest number of blocks this year for us. So it just goes to show the profile he is. He's a big lad. He likes to chuck himself in front of the ball, etc. So he is a big loss from a defensive capacity. You know, but that's what football is like. We have to have a ready-made replacement available. He's not available at the minute. They don't need to dwell on the fact that he's not there. We need to focus on the players that are involved tonight.
I think it's fair to say, you know, so far this season, Lewis Gibson has certainly, you know, been impressing, hasn't he? You know, amongst the fans, and I'm sure to Stephen Schumacher as well.
Yeah, absolutely. And you know, I like the fact that he's come in and he's settled in really well. He's on, you know, a new club, a new setup. He's showcased relatively young as well, showcasing what he's capable of doing. And not only that, he's actually good with his feet. He can pass, he can step into midfield if he has to. So, you know, he's just become an integral part of that back line. Yeah,
and he's certainly proven that he's learning at this level as well.
Absolutely. You know, they're all learning. They're all a young squad, and they're trying to showcase that they can play at this level as a minimum, but not only that, compete and be good players with it as well. And you know, I don't think they would have brought him in if they didn't think he fitted the profile of what they were after, i.e. a ball playing centre half.
Yeah, I mean, you can see the squad on your screen now just warming up down towards the Devonport end, getting ready to put in hopefully a very positive performance this evening. You are, of course, watching the pre-match show on Argyle TV, and we are building up to kick-off here at Home Park against Millwall tonight. There is a lot more still to come, so whatever you do, don't go anywhere.
There's nothing like the start to a new season. The energy, the anticipation, the expectation. You know that buzz in the air. You can feel it. It's going to be our year. It's going to be different this time. It needs to be, for all of us. The emotions of the game get to us all. I know all about that. But whether out on the pitch, in the stands, or on the sidelines, we've all got to do better at all levels. No more surrounding refs, no more abuse, no more intimidation, no more discrimination. Leave the pitch to the players. And those offensive chants, you know the ones. There's never a place for them in the game we love. That beautiful feeling at the start of a new season. Don't ruin it. Let's keep it that way, together. Whether you win, lose or draw, let's make sure that this season is different. We all do it for the love of the game. Let's show our pride and passion in the right way. We all love football, so let's protect the game.
Welcome back to Argyle TV. Pleased to announce that Mark Edworthy has arrived up on the gantry this evening. He will be providing all of your commentary tonight alongside Charlie Price. So, as we mentioned earlier, if you haven't got hold of your passes, make sure you do so. PAFC.co.uk. You can watch the whole match because it's a Tuesday night. I mean, Aaron, it's always quite nice when you get, if you can't make it to Home Park, that, you know, fans all over the world, including the UK, get to, you know, sit in the sofa and tune in. It's always good fun, isn't it?
Yeah, naturally, of an evening kick-off, you know, people after work can't always get to the ground, and if you know that is available on TV and you can sit in, you know, the pleasure of your own home and enjoy the fixture, that there is something special about a night game, especially here now. It's a lovely evening. You know, the pitch will be really zippy. We're going to want to play the style that we've come here and we know we're capable of doing. And, you know, Millwall are a little bit more direct, perhaps, so it'll be interesting to see how they fare as well. We've got to make sure we get down, you know, the second knockdowns if they do opt to go more direct. But it's just a cracking evening for football.
Yeah, well, if you can't make it to be here in person tonight, of course, make sure you get the match pass. Me and Aaron will be back at half-time and full-time. And we'd love to see some of your messages, and I'm sure we can put some time aside to read them out and see who's having the nicest holiday wherever you are in the world. Something that we're doing here on Argyle TV this month, of course, it is Black History Month, October, and there are a number of things going on at the club and in the community, much like the Culture Fest that was held at Ivybridge Community College by the Argyle Community Trust.
We were originally asked to come into the school to deal with some incidents around race. It was actually a unique ask because originally it was just to come in to find out and see what the culture was like and see if we can have an input. And we wanted to look at it as an actual collaboration between Argyle Community Trust and Ivybridge Community College. So from that we decided to create a student council, and with that we wanted to look at how we could not just affect people's ideas within the school but also actually affect policies. One of the biggest things that was birthed from the group was the idea of Culture Fest. What we wanted to do was use that as an opportunity to celebrate. We wanted to use that as an experience for young people to be proud of their culture, but at the same time use that as an educational piece to let everyone else know about the do's and don'ts, and to make people more aware of those little microaggressions that a lot of young people face within the school, as well as obviously the more direct forms of racism that they also experience as well. So from that we decided to bring in various different organisers. So DBI were involved, Hope, Plymouth, Cruising Flavours. We wanted to really kind of show a lot of young people the various organisations that have been successful within the Southwest. And not just that as well, but create different pathways and potential opportunities to link in young people as well as adults into these organisations too.
It was a really pivotal day, I think, where the students who've been working really hard with CADIS finally came together and saw the final product of their work. We had 3 different workshops, we also had seminars, and students were able to ask questions at the end of the day as well, with a really fantastic guest panel where students were asking some really deep questions, but thoughtful questions that had then some really thoughtful answers that have led to students really being able to question their own behaviours, their own language, and really get to grips with multiculturalism and equality and diversity from having increased visibility. We were looking for increased visibility to encourage students to empathise with one another, increase their compassion, increase their respect for one another. Working towards Culture Fest as well has seen a massive change. There's been a lot more focus on anti-racism strategies as a whole, and staff have really been engaging with that, with staff training as well, which the students played a massive part in as well on the lead up to Culture Fest. What we've noticed is that students are a lot more thoughtful of their language, of their behaviour, and some of our students have reported like those covert forms of racism, like somebody touching their hair, has really reduced, and they're able to feel more safe walking around the college site.
I think it's really important. I think that we should not stand for discrimination in the school, and I think that doing this is a way to eliminate that.
I think it's really important that the school are able to raise awareness of different people and their cultures.
I would say that since this has started and since we've sort of been talking about this, I'd say that in my personal experience, the experiences that I've had have certainly decreased. So I've definitely had less people touching my hair.
It's been a massive achievement from everyone involved. One thing that I've realised is the power of collaboration. So Argyle Community Trust as a whole, with our ED&I focus, as well as Ivybridge, and them being proactive in terms of dealing with this issue and actually looking at how that can change systemically, and knowing that these young people have had a massive impact in that is their ideas, which we've just tried to find a way to make it happen. it's been a very, very proud moment for not just us as the trust, but just even from a personal standpoint, watching that unfold and seeing just different organisers and collaborators getting involved and being so passionate about something which is a very, very big issue in society, and we feel that it's a very good starting place. So I'm very excited, very emotional, and very proud.
Always nice to catch up with the Argyle Community Trust. Now, footballers are heroes to many people, but who do our squad idolise? The first in a mini-series celebrating Black History Month comes from Brendan Galloway.
My main sporting hero, I'd have to go with LeBron James. Yeah, I'd say he's the person in sort of the sporting industry that I look up to the most, that I try and just try and get tips from him and just try and, you know, research as much as I can about him. And I think that he's one of the best sportsmen to ever do it, so yeah.
What is it about LeBron that particularly to you sort of makes you see him as the absolute best?
I think just the work rate. From 18, you know, the spotlight was on him to a crazy level, and just the way that he's dealt with it on the court and off the court. You know, you never hear of him in trouble, you never hear of him messing around. You know, he's always focused, even at now in year 21 of his career, and he's still dedicated. He still wants to win. That's his main goal, and also he's a family man. You know, you see a lot of videos online of him, how he treats him and his children and his wife. So off the court as well, I'd say he does a lot of work. He's got his own school, his own charities, you know, so he also tries to help people that are less fortunate than him, not just keep his wealth to himself.
Is that one of the most striking things, that he can be as good as he is and as decorated as he is and as famous as he is, but like you say, he has morals in the right place? Yeah,
I think that's probably, you know, he's got all the talent. You know, we know what he's done on the court, but off the court, the story's just as inspirational. You know, tries to help as many children as he can, tries to help families, and, you know, just give all that he can back to the community where he's from, in different cities, and just, you know, I think that's the way to be. That's the way to live your life, and you know, just puts thoughts into my head about how can I help other people, how can I do stuff for the community, and how can I just be a better person all around.
Just finally, when you were watching LeBron, because as you mentioned, his career's been very, very long, growing up, you know, how much did it sort of encourage or inspire you, I suppose, in your journey to become a professional athlete? Yeah, massively.
I think that when you watch a guy that's that good, that's so dedicated and just always puts in the work every single day, focused on making himself better as a player, it just gives me some inspiration, just gives me some motivation. Sometimes in the gym, you know, you sort of think, well, if someone of that level can still be putting in that amount of work, then I need to as well. I know that's completely on a different scale, but just the mindset, you try and take the mindset and just think about what he's doing and try and put it into myself and try and make myself better every day. So yeah, I think that he's a massive motivation, massive inspiration on the court and off the court as well. And you know, if you try and live your life like that, then I think that you'll be doing a lot of things correct.
You are watching Argyle TV's pre-match show live from Home Park this evening. Now, if you don't know already, where have you been? But this is just a reminder that you can stream tonight's match in full here on Argyle TV for just £10. If you're watching on YouTube, head over to pafc.co.uk for all of the information and make sure you secure your pass now.
The away day. A shared passion and commitment. 12,000 miles across the season. Unforgettable memories, past players, the goals. Waiting players, supporters, young and old. Capturing the moment, living the dream. Green Army, belting out the Janus song. The stands, the shirts, the drum beats, the surging crowd moving as a giant wave. Crusaders, one and all. The Green Army.
Okay, Argyle against Millwall in just over 20 minutes. Right now, though, on Argyle TV, we are joined by a former Millwall and Argyle player, Danny Salmon. Lovely to have you with us this evening.
Thank you for inviting me, Erin.
I mean, the pleasure is all mine. This is going to be a pretty good game for you this evening, I would have thought.
Yeah, I think the biggest question, or the most questions I've been asked since I've got here, is who are you going to be supporting?
Okay, have you got an answer?
And I said I've got no answer to that. I said it's very, very difficult when you've spent some time with both clubs, and I just hope it's a really good game, and hopefully best team will win.
Yeah, I mean, nice for you. You can do a whole lap of the pitch, and I'm sure everybody will be there for the handshakes and the autographs.
Well, yeah, I mean, I was obviously the time I spent at Millwall was a very successful time.
Yeah.
First time they ever got top flight football, and I enjoyed my time here as well. So I think with the Millwall fans in particular, they voted me their player of the year that year when we got promotion.
Yeah.
So I always had a good rapport with them. So yeah, it's been terrific, and it's nice to see both the clubs in the championship, and hopefully both of them in next step up to top flight.
Yeah, I mean, well, that's what you want as a former player for both clubs like that. You want to see them both, excelling and, and having a good game.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, Millwall came close, obviously, last season.
Yeah.
Two slots away. I think it came down to the last game of the season. And, Plymouth have started really well. I mean, Millwall haven't started so well, unfortunately, but Plymouth are going good, and I think they've made a really strong start to the season.
I mean, you've talked about your success from your time at Millwall. Just, remind some of our viewers of your memories from that period.
Well, at Millwall, I mean, I signed from Brentford in '86, and we just survived the first season.
Oh, look, we can see a picture of you there.
Oh, dear. It was a windy day that day. I don't know. They always take, Panini stickers. They take the worst picture and put them up there, don't they? Obviously the first season we consolidated, and the second season Teddy Sheringham and Tony Cascarino scored 50 goals plus, and we ended up getting promotion 87-88 season. So first time in their history in post-war. So Plymouth's next, I suppose.
Yeah, well, fingers crossed. and with Millwall, you won the title, and as you said, Player of the Year as well. That must be an accolade that you're quite fond of.
Yeah, I've been never forgiven by Teddy and Cass, who scored 50 plus goals that season. They cannot believe that I got Player of the Year that year, and they haven't forgiven me ever since. And I did try to explain that it wasn't my fault.
Yeah. And what was that season like? Because it must be euphoric getting that success, and then the following season as well in top flight.
Well, I think the following season we were top in September. I think we beat QPR 3-1 at home, that made us top. But honestly, the last game of the season, when we won promotion at Hull, we won 1-0 with a penalty.
Yeah.
I mean, the crowd, I've never seen so many grown-up people crying in the terraces. They completely stripped all our kits off us.
Wow.
None of us had anything on. We're walking around on the pitch, but nobody cared.
Yeah,
It was incredible. Great times, and it's just an amazing time in my career.
Yeah, and then coming to Argyle.
Yeah.
Talk to me about that, because Peter Shilton is your manager. What was that like?
David Kemp signed me.
Yeah.
Who I knew from Wimbledon days, and I played against him a few times. And I remember wanting to get away from London. I had two little kids then.
Yeah.
And David Kemp said he'd just become manager of Plymouth Argyle, and sensibly he brought me down and showed me the Hoe and all the nice places to go to. And I thought, well, two little kids, what a beautiful place to bring them up. And I never regretted 1 minute of it. It was great.
No, that's fantastic. I mean, and you stayed and worked around Argyle as well for many years following that, so you must have enjoyed it down here.
Oh yeah, I mean, there was no way that I was going to go back to London. It was one of those things that once you come down here, they say it gets into your blood.
Yeah.
And I've spent, obviously I worked for the Press Association here. I wrote articles in the Herald for quite a few years.
Yeah.
So I'm what they call a grockle. Is that right?
Oh yeah, a grockle and an M. Well, surely you're just an honorary Janner at this point. I don't think
so.
we can.
I still haven't got the accent though, but
well, some might say it's for the
right?
best. I think you're safe, to be
I'm
honest
right.
with you. Yeah, and being here tonight at Home Park, it must be a lovely atmosphere going around. I'm sure everybody's very eager to say hello to you.
Yeah, I mean, it's never been anything but that. I mean, you walk through Plymouth City Centre, you come to the ground. I've always got time for supporters to have a chat with them. It makes their day. I'm just glad that we're back in the Championship.
Yeah.
Both teams that I played for, I just want better things for them both. I really look forward to hopefully a bit of success for both of them.
Yeah, well, fingers crossed we'll get that tonight. Thank you so much for spending your time here on Argyle TV. I won't keep you any longer because I'm sure there's a lot more people down there that want to say hello to you. Hope you enjoy the game.
Thank you.
Danny Salmon with us on Argyle TV. Let's have a look, though, at his old side Millwall, and sorry to say this, their 3-0 defeat against Swansea City on Saturday. Welcome back. Aaron is joining me once again. Lovely to have Danny up here and have a little chat with him, though. Bit of an Argyle legend there. Let's go to some current Argyle legends, though, and reacquaint ourselves with this evening's side. As we spoke previously, a couple of changes for Argyle tonight. Your starting lineup consists of Hazard, Plegathwello, Scar, Kessler, Hayden, Mumba, Houghton, Miller, Azaz, Randall, Hardy and Whittaker, and on our bench this evening, Burton, Gillespie, Butcher, Edwards, Warrington, Cundall, Bundu, Wright and Wayne. Aaron, what do you think Stephen Schumacher is going to be looking to do with that side that he's put out tonight?
Well, he's going to encourage them to play as always and play their expansive football. You know, it looks like we will revert to a back four. You know, and naturally we've got to be mindful of if Kane, Kessler, Hayden and Mikael Miller are going to push on. That might leave us susceptible to the counter in wide areas. So, you know, Jordan Houghton's going to need some protection in there as well. So maybe Adam Randall might need to sit a little bit deeper at times. But it's all about how they deal with the transition for me, Aaron, tonight. We know how capable we are going forward, but we've got to become better collectively during that transition when we give possession away. So, you know, the likes of even Whittaker and Barley Mumba have got a job to do when we get caught in those flanks.
Yeah, well, we've seen them warming up already this evening, ready to put in a pretty good game here tonight against our opposition, which is Millwall. Danny's saying earlier, of course, he doesn't mind who wins, but we here on Argyle TV, there's only one answer to that. We want to see Argyle triumph. So let's see who we are up against tonight then with the Millwall squad. We have got Biakowski, McNamara, Cooper, Bryan, Harding, Fleming, Campbell, Leonard, Denor, Nisbet, Watmore, and on the Millwall bench, Truman, Wallace, Norton Cuffey, Mitchell, Saville, Essie, Honeyman, Longman and Emarku. Aaron, we saw there a couple of former Argyle players. You know, it's nice to see on the face of it, but I don't think that's what we need to be drawing away from the names on that list. There's a lot more at play here, isn't there? We need to be looking at the Millwall team as a whole, and they are going to be some pretty hefty competition for us.
Yeah, absolutely. And we've already said at the top of the show, Erin, you know, they've got a front line that's got international experience and Premier League experience. You know, they're not journeymen, they're still relatively young, and they've got a lot to prove. So, you know, if they turn it on tonight with, I think it's Zion Fleming kind of playing the number 10 role, they could do some damage. So we've got to make sure that we're ready and prepared for that front three in particular.
Yeah, well, it's getting nice and loud here at Home Park this evening because it's not too long until we have kick-off. There is still a little bit more to come on the pre-match show. Afterwards, we'll be finishing up with the build-up before handing over to our commentary team. Don't go anywhere.
Let's get it poppin', I'm looking away. Go tell mother I'm cooking the game. Flow like water bubbling up where you want me to make. Taking you back in the day, feeling immaculate, mate. Action packed back to back while you yapping away. I got a knack to react, but I'm packing a grace. Up to the max with a fact, let me grab the space. I had to map the place, you got a laughing face. One long and strong, looking like a stack full of hate. It goes on and on, way to the back of the bank. This phenomenon's on, I don't even have to say. I'm where I belong, this no back in the, you know. I go where I wanna, a fair warning for anybody with hair on them. You can't stop me, you can't stop me.
Some final thoughts from you then, Aaron, as we get ready to kick off tonight. How important are these next two games for Argyle?
Very, like every game is, Aaron, and if they can go into, you know, tonight and Saturday unbeaten, all of a sudden they're 4 games unbeaten, and that's what brings the momentum. Players knowing that they've not had a defeat for a while, but they're going to want to put the performance in. And I think if they trust their process, they've done a lot of the work on the training pitch, they'll get outcomes that they deserve.
Yeah, we want to see a nice, strong, positive, you know, performance from Argyle tonight, don't we? Are you expecting to see them kind of coming out of the gate straight away, or are you expecting to see them maybe playing slightly more reserved?
Well, I'd like to see that they'll come out and be positive, because they're not going to want Millwall to settle into the game. Millwall are going to probably try and disrupt, make it difficult. You know, they're quite known for being quite direct, and you know, we're going to want to play. So I say that they'll come out on the front foot, be positive, the crowd will get behind them. That might lead to an early couple of chances. And I just think it might sound obvious, but the team that's the most clinical will win the game. Yeah, absolutely. Well, we've got just enough time before kick-off to hear from the Argyle camp itself tonight. And let's find out what first-team coach Kevin Nanskeville thought with some of his pre-match thoughts.
Nance, a couple of changes then from Saturday's game. Talk us through them and the thinking behind it.
Yeah, just to freshen up a little bit. Macca's obviously his first game on Saturday for this season, so he had a good 60 minutes. So he'll come out, Mikel will come in, and Joe's going to have a little breather, and Kane will play.
It's another home game. It's where we picked up all our wins so far this season. And having kind of backed up the Norwich victory with a good point on the road, there must be a good feeling about this.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, we know what we're in store for. Millwall are an experienced championship team who have had some great seasons and a good manager, good staff. So we're expecting a really, really tough game. But we're in good spirits. We've had a good point on the road, like you said, at Hull. So looking forward to it.
Are Millwall one of those sides? You know, they've been in the championship for such a long time now, and they started competing at the top end that you can kind of look at as like, they're not flush with money, not flush with stars. They're a good example club, maybe.
Yeah, definitely. They're a benchmark for us. I mean, they're an established championship team, like I've said, for a number of years now. Last season we're pushing towards the top end of it, so they're progressing every season. So it's definitely somewhere where we want to get to. So it'll be interesting tonight to see where we are compared to Millwall. Really looking forward to it, and hopefully the fans have a great night.
Yeah, and it is a night game, first night game in the league this season, under the lights at Home Park, something special. How much the players looking forward to that as well?
Yeah, you've just said it. Any evening game with the lights on makes it a little bit special. So really looking forward to it. Like I said, we're in good spirits. We came back Saturday after the game, and good points. So hopefully we can continue that form tonight.
I'm sure you won't be looking too far ahead, but it is the start of 2 home games in a week as well. The Swansea coming up on Saturday. So an opportunity, considering our home form, to rack up a couple of points potentially.
Yeah, it's relentless. I mean, they come thick and fast against top quality opposition all the time, but like you said, we'll just concentrate on tonight first before we move on towards Swansea. So we're in for a tough game, but we're looking forward to it.
And there are 5 other matches being played in the Championship tonight for you all to keep your eyes on. I'm sure we will be monitoring them throughout the course of the evening. Hull are going to Ipswich, who could go top with a win. Southampton will be going to Stoke, while West Brom are looking for another win as they take on Sheffield Wednesday. There they are in full on the screen for you now, starting with Argyle Millwall at the top. Birmingham City taking on Huddersfield Town. Ipswich, as mentioned, take on Hull City tonight. Middlesbrough play Cardiff. Stoke against Southampton, and West Brom against Sheffield Wednesday there. Aaron, thank you so much for being with us on Argyle TV this evening. We'll, of course, be back again at half-time, so make sure you have your match pass if you haven't got it already. pafc.co.uk has all the details, and it's just £10. Charlie Price and former Argyle defender Mark Edworthy are standing by, ready to bring you all the commentary throughout the entirety of the match. And of course, you can stream it from anywhere in the world tonight. Right, the time is almost upon us. Can Argyle keep their momentum going? Let's find out, because Argyle against Millwall is up next.